Every single day, an unseen battle unfolds. It's quiet. It doesn't announce itself. And the most unsettling part? It often comes from those we trust the most. Friends, family, loved ones. It starts small. A casual remark that lingers in your mind too long. A conversation that leaves you uneasy. A relationship that slowly drains your peace. Before you realize it, your confidence fades, your thoughts shift, and your emotions react to forces you can't even see. That's the scary part. Most people don't notice until it's too late. This is why the Stoics taught that true wisdom begins with awareness, seeing things as they truly are, not just how they appear. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." That means the people around you, the conversations you allow, the energies you entertain, they shape you in ways you don't even realize. If you're not careful, if you don't train yourself to recognize, when something is pulling you off track, you may wake up one day as someone you never intended to be. But here's the good news. Once you see these influences, you take back your power. You regain control over your thoughts, your emotions, and most importantly, your peace. That's exactly what we're diving into today. How to recognize the subtle, hidden forces that might be working against you, even when they come in the form of a friend, a family member, or someone you trust. And trust me, once you learn to see it, you can never unsee it. So stick with me, because every part of this message connects. Miss even one piece, and you might miss the insight you need right now. The unseen forces shaping your life. Some of the biggest forces in your life aren't the ones you see. They work in the background, subtle, quiet, almost invisible. It's the words people repeat around you, the energy they bring into your space, the attitudes they carry. Influence doesn't always announce itself. It slips in gradually, until one day you wake up feeling different, thinking differently, and you don't even know why. The Stoics knew the world is full of distractions, opinions, and external forces, pulling you in every direction. That's why they focus so much on guarding the mind. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to be careful of what he absorbed, to filter out anything that didn't align with reason and virtue, because we become what we allow to shape us. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and fear, you start to internalize it. Spend enough time with people who see limits instead of possibilities, and soon you'll see them too. Most people don't realize this is happening. They think their thoughts are entirely their own, but they're not. Every conversation, every repeated phrase, every interaction leaves a mark. A friend who constantly complains, you start feeling heavier, even if you weren't upset before. A family member who always highlights the worst case scenario, you start second-guessing your decisions. A colleague who subtly undermines you, their words sit in the back of your mind, making you doubt yourself for no real reason. Epictetus warned us, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. The same goes for influence. If you're not careful, you'll let the wrong voices dictate your mindset, your confidence, even your sense of purpose. And the danger isn't just an obvious negativity. Sometimes it's disguised as concern. The people who don't directly attack your dreams, but never fully support them either. The ones who say, "That's great, but," or "I just don't want you to get hurt." They sound caring, but what they're really doing is planting doubt. True awareness means asking, where did this thought come from? Is this belief mine, or did I inherit it from someone else? Once you see where your influences come from, you get to decide what stays and what goes. And that's where real strength begins. How to recognize when it's happening. It's not always obvious. If it were, you'd shut it down immediately. But these influences are slow, sneaky, gradual. It starts with small things, offhand comments, repeated criticisms disguised as concern, a constant undercurrent of negativity. That makes it feel like the world is against you. Think about your relationships. Do you have people in your life who always highlight problems but never solutions? Who make everything feel heavier, as if life is just one endless struggle? Seneca warned against this kind of influence. Be careful not to sink under the weight of others' burdens. There's a difference between supporting someone and being dragged into their storm. Some people aren't looking for a way out of negativity. They just want company in their misery. Then there are the manipulators. They don't control you outright. Instead, they plant small doubts. They make you question your instincts, your decisions, your own judgment. You speak with confidence, and they respond with, "Are you sure about that?" Or, "I heard that's really risky." Harmless at first, right? But over time, it sinks in. Slowly, you start doubting yourself, second-guessing things you once knew to be true. Jealousy disguised as support. Ever share good news with someone, only to be met with a forced smile and a half-hearted, "That's great, I guess"? Or maybe they instantly shift the conversation back to themselves, making your moment of joy disappear. That's not just an oversight. It's a pattern. The Stoics believed the company you keep should sharpen you, strengthen you, and reinforce your values. If someone consistently downplays your successes or subtly discourages your growth, that's an influence you need to evaluate. The constant victim. Some people always have a problem, always blame others, never take responsibility. They feed on your sympathy, pulling you into their chaos, making you feel guilty if you don't get involved. But as Epictetus reminds us, you become what you give your attention to. If all your energy is spent absorbing someone else's drama, how much do you have left for your own purpose? Listen to your body. Before your mind catches on, your body will tell you everything you need to know. Do you feel tense around certain people? Do you sigh the moment you see their name pop up on your phone? That's not a coincidence. It's a signal. Start paying attention. Because once you recognize these patterns, you take back your power. Do you feel lighter, freer, more at peace when they're not around? That's not just stress. That's your body signaling to you that something isn't right. The Stoics taught that wisdom isn't just about intellectual reasoning. It's about listening, observing, and responding wisely. Ever wonder why certain thoughts, emotions, or behaviors seem to stick with you, even when you know they're not serving you? You try to shake them off, but they linger, shaping the way you see yourself, the way you react, and the way you move through life. That's not by accident. That's influence at work. And the strongest influences aren't always the loudest. They're the ones that slip in unnoticed, settling into your mind and subtly shifting the course of your decisions before you even realize it. The Stoics were obsessed with understanding how external forces shape us, and more importantly, how to guard against them. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to filter the thoughts he allowed into his mind, knowing that the world around him would always try to impose its values, fears, and distractions onto him. Let's be honest, most people don't even realize they're being influenced. They move through life on autopilot, absorbing whatever energy surrounds them. They react instead of choosing. They drift instead of directing. A lot of these influences start early. How your parents spoke to you, the kind of household you grew up in, the attitudes you were exposed to. Without even realizing it, you might be carrying beliefs that aren't yours. Beliefs about success, relationships, and what's possible for you. Maybe you grew up around constant scarcity, and now, no matter how much you achieve, there's still a quiet fear in the back of your mind that it could all disappear. Maybe you were surrounded by criticism, and now, even in moments of confidence, you feel the need to prove yourself. And it doesn't stop in childhood. Every conversation you have, every social circle you're a part of, and every piece of content you consume, it all shapes you in some way. Some people, knowingly or unknowingly, push their limitations onto you. They don't do it with malice. They do it because it's all they know. They see risk where you see opportunity. They see obstacles where you see potential. And if you're not careful, you start seeing through their eyes instead of your own. Seneca had a simple but powerful rule. Be mindful of what you allow to shape you. He knew that you don't rise above the people you surround yourself with. You either grow with them or you shrink to fit them. Some influences sharpen you, some weaken you. Some make you more of yourself, while others turn you into someone you never intended to be. And the real challenge? Recognizing the difference before it's too late. That's why awareness is everything. The second you start questioning why you think the way you do, why you react a certain way, or why you believe what you believe, you gain power. You start filtering out the noise, keeping what serves you, and discarding what doesn't. That's when real clarity begins. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every influence deserves your attention. The moment you realize this, life becomes a lot clearer. There will always be negativity, manipulation, and subtle attempts to steer you off course. But what the Stoics knew, and what most people overlook, is that your power isn't in controlling others. It's in controlling yourself. You decide what gets in. You decide what shapes you. And once you start filtering out the noise, you stop being so easily moved. Marcus Aurelius had a habit of reminding himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That applies to everything. Conversations, conflicts, relationships. The question isn't, why is this person acting this way? It's, how do I choose to respond? Because influence only works if you allow it. Someone can try to plant doubt, but you don't have to water it. Someone can try to stir up anger, but you don't have to give it a home. So, what do you do when you recognize an unhealthy influence? First, pause. Don't react emotionally. The moment you get pulled into their energy, you've already lost. Observe. Listen. Let them reveal themselves. Epictetus used to say that the first sign of wisdom is the ability to delay reaction, because when you pause, you get clarity. You see patterns instead of isolated incidents. You recognize when someone is speaking from their own fears, not from truth, and that clarity is everything. Next, set boundaries. Not everything deserves a response. Not every person deserves full access to you. Seneca warned about spending too much time with those who drain your spirit, saying that the wise person is careful with their time because it's the one resource they can never get back. That means learning to say no, not with anger or resentment, but with quiet confidence. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain yourself. Just step back and protect your peace. Finally, strengthen yourself. The more solid you are in your values, the less others can shake you. The more you invest in wisdom, the less you'll be misled. The Stoics didn't just focus on avoiding bad influences. They focused on becoming so strong internally that nothing external could control them. Real power lies here. It's not about avoiding every negative person. It's about being so rooted in who you are that nothing, not words, not opinions, not outside forces, can steer you off your path. There's a moment in every interaction when you feel it, that brief realization that something's off. Maybe it's how someone downplays your excitement over something important to you. Maybe it's the subtle shift in their tone when you mention a new opportunity. Or maybe it's the way you always feel unsettled after spending time with them, like a weight you can't quite explain. That feeling? That's the summit knocking. The question is, are you paying attention? The Stoics taught that clarity isn't about seeing more. It's about seeing correctly. Marcus Aurelius constantly trained himself to look beyond the surface, reminding himself that people's words and actions often reveal more about them than anything else. So when someone speaks, listen not just to what they say, but to what's beneath. Does their encouragement feel genuine, or is there hesitation? Are they truly happy for you, or just tolerating your success? Some people won't criticize you outright, but they'll disguise their doubts as concern. Are you sure you can handle that? That seems like a lot of pressure. These comments seem harmless at first, but over time, they chip away at your confidence. Then there are those who always steer conversations toward conflict. You start with a simple topic, but somehow they turn it into an argument or debate, not in search of truth, but because they thrive in chaos. Seneca warned about these types, saying some people don't want peace. They want reaction. They want to pull you into their storm because they can't handle the stillness of your presence. Recognizing this is key. If every interaction with someone leaves you feeling drained, anxious, or defensive, that's not just their personality. That's a pattern. And what about the ones who seem to support you, but only to a point? They celebrate your wins as long as your success doesn't surpass theirs. They encourage growth, but only in ways that keep you at their level. You share a new goal, and instead of pushing you forward, they remind you of past failures, of risks, of why it might not work. Not because they want to protect you, but because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Epictetus put it simply, if you desire to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Not everyone will understand your path, and not everyone will celebrate it, and that's fine. What matters is whether you allow their fears to dictate your steps. Discernment isn't about labeling people as good or bad. It's about recognizing who influences you and how. The wrong influence can make you doubt what you once believed in. The right influence can remind you of your own strength. The Stoics didn't waste time trying to change others. They focus on seeing people as they are and choosing wisely. Once you recognize the patterns, the next step is clear. Either limit their influence or reinforce your own mindset so strongly that nothing they say can shake it. Strength isn't about fighting every battle. It's about knowing which ones to walk away from when it comes to protecting your peace. The real work isn't in changing others. It's in strengthening yourself so that no outside force can pull you off course. The Stoics didn't believe in isolation, but they did believe in boundaries. They understood that the mind, like a fortress, needs walls, not to keep the world out, but to control what gets in. The first step is awareness. If you don't know who or what is influencing you, you can't protect yourself from it. Pay attention to patterns. Notice how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do you leave feeling lighter, clearer, more focused, or do you feel anxious, uncertain, drained? Marcus Aurelius made a habit to examine his thoughts daily, filtering out anything that didn't serve his higher purpose. That's the level of discipline required. You don't just let any ideas settle in your mind. You evaluate them. You decide if they're worth keeping. Next, set limits. Not out of anger, but out of wisdom. Not every conversation needs your engagement. Not every opinion needs a response. Seneca put it simply, associate with those who will make a better man of you. That doesn't mean cutting people off at the first sign of negativity. It means choosing wisely and protecting your peace. But it does require being mindful of where you invest your energy. If someone consistently drains you, it's not selfish to distance yourself. It's essential for your well-being. Then, strengthen your internal foundation. When your mind is unanchored, every external influence can sway you. Stoicism reminds us that true strength comes within, from mastering ourselves. This means developing habits that foster clarity, reading, writing, practicing stillness. Epictetus taught his students that the more we value outside factors beyond our control, the less control we really have. When you seek approval from others, it's easier for them to manipulate your energy. But when you build a solid foundation within yourself, the opinions, doubts, and negativity from others no longer have a hold on you. And remember, it's crucial to choose your influences with care. You won't always be able to avoid negativity, but you can always counteract it. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to think deeply, who push you to grow, who remind you of your true self when you lose your way. The company you keep will either elevate you or hold you back. The decision is yours. We don't rise alone, none of us do. The people in your life will either lift you up, keep you stagnant, or slowly bring you down. The hard truth is that many never stop to assess who's truly in their corner. They assume that friendships, relationships, and social circles just happen, but in reality, they shape everything. Your mindset, your energy, your ambition. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew the quality of your life is directly tied to the quality of the company you keep. Seneca's advice was simple. Surround yourself with those who lift you, not those who diminish you. This doesn't mean seeking perfect people, but rather people who challenge you in healthy ways, who call you out when you're slipping, but from a place of support, not control, who celebrate your victories, not with fake smiles, but with genuine pride, who push you to be better, not through criticism, but by leading through example. You've probably felt this before. When you're in the right company, something changes. Conversations feel lighter, yet deeper. You walk away feeling more like your true self, not less. There's no competition. No need to dim yourself to make others comfortable. No underlying jealousy masked as care. These relationships sharpen you. They remind you of your full potential. Epictetus said it best. The key is to be with people who bring out the best in you, whose presence challenges you to rise. Here's where many get stuck. They're afraid to let go of relationships that no longer support their growth. They cling to old friendships out of habit, history, or guilt. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, it's not death we should fear, but never beginning to live. If certain connections are holding you back from growing, from fully living, then clinging to them isn't loyalty. It's self-betrayal. The people in your life should add value to it, not just occupy it. Building a strong circle isn't about cutting people off out of anger or resentment. It's about making conscious choices. Look for people who value wisdom, who live with discipline, who strive to improve. Notice how people speak. Do they complain more than they create? Do they inspire action or feed into fear? You don't need a large crowd, just the right few. And once you find them, you'll realize how much of your energy was being spent in the wrong places. Most people go through life without ever questioning who or what is influencing them. They wonder why they feel drained, why their confidence wobbles, why their future vision shrinks over time. But the reality is that everything you allow into your life, every conversation, every relationship, every belief, is either sharpening or dulling you. If you don't take charge of that process, someone else will. The Stoics weren't obsessed with controlling the world. They focus on controlling themselves, their thoughts, their reactions, their inner world. True freedom lies in that control. You can't stop others from being negative. You can't force anyone to see your worth. But you can choose what influences you. You can choose who gets access to your energy, your time, your mind. And that choice is everything. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that life is too short to waste on things that don't serve the soul. If someone's presence makes you feel small, if their words chisel away at your peace, if their energy distracts rather than strengthens, you owe it to yourself to step back. This isn't about resentment. It's about wisdom. You are responsible for guarding your mind. No one else can do it for you. And here's the beautiful part. Once you start making more mindful choices, once you align with people who bring out the best in you, once you protect your thoughts like a fortress, everything shifts. Your confidence, your focus, your ability to move with clarity and purpose, all of it sharpens. You'll no longer be swayed by others' opinions. You'll stop seeking validation from people who don't understand your path. And most importantly, you'll embrace who you're truly meant to be. So what will you do now? Will you let the wrong influences continue to shape you? Or will you begin choosing your circle, your thoughts, your path with intention? The decision is yours. If you found value in this, there's another video that expands on these ideas even further. I'll see you there, and thank you for being part of Stoic Mindset Mastery.